A major bridge collapsed in the U.S. port of Baltimore in the early hours of Tuesday after being struck by a container ship, plunging cars and as many as 20 people into the river below.
So at approximately 0140 hours this morning, our 911 center dispatched a call to the Baltimore City Fire Department for a report of a water rescue in the Patapsco River in the area of the Key Bridge. As units were responding, they began to receive numerous calls indicating multiple people in the water. At some point during that chain of events of calls, we began to receive indications that a ship may have struck the Key Bridge. We got further information through multiple calls that the Key Bridge, portions of the Key Bridge had actually collapsed. At about 0150 hours, our first unit arrived on scene and reported a complete collapse of the Key Bridge. We were also given information at that time that there were likely multiple people on the bridge at the time of the collapse, and that as a result, multiple people were in the water.
Well, this is a tragedy that you can never imagine, right? And I was awake when Chief Wallace called me, but never would you think that you would physically see the Key Bridge tumble down like that. It looked like something out of an action movie. And you just think about, most importantly, which is what we all should be thinking about right now, nothing but those families and people that are impacted, and those people who are risking their lives right now, from not just Baltimore City and Baltimore County, but all over this state, to try to save lives. That should be our focus, the preservation of life, because no one wants to see that happen, let alone someone in their family, someone that they know, be injured in an incident like this.
Rescuers pulled out 2 survivors, one in a very serious condition, and were searching for more in the Patapsco River after huge spans of the 2.6-kilometer Francis Scott Key Bridge crumpled into the water. Citing an unclassified U.S. intelligence report, ABC News reported that the ship lost propulsion as it was leaving port, and the crew on board notified Maryland officials they had lost control of the vessel. Meanwhile, the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, MPA, said it will provide full cooperation to the U.S. Coast Guard investigations into the collision. The agency said it would also be investigating the incident involving Dali, a 95,000 GT container vessel operating with 22 crew on board at the time of the incident. Maryland Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency and said the state was working with an interagency team to quickly deploy federal resources from the Biden administration. LSEG ship tracking data showed that the registered owner of the ship is Grace Ocean Pte. Limited and the manager is Synergy Marine Group. Synergy Marine Corp. said the Dali collided with one of the pillars of the bridge and that all its crew members, including the 2 pilots, had been accounted for and there were no reports of any injuries. The Dali was set to depart Baltimore and arrive at Colombo on April 22.